Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. I'll reply with those emotes. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those. If not, you can just say hi another way with literally just saying hi. Use other people's emotes. Or if you don't feel like chatting, you don't have to. Thank you to Harold for hosting the stream. Thank you to the Ja for the 5 bits. Appreciate that as always. Thank you to Dirty and Mr. Hadel says howdy, Pat. And Jam and Lashbrook. We got a solid crew of folks here already. If you're here in chat, you can say hi. If you've got the emotes and because you're a subscriber, you can use those. If not, that's okay. Do want to point out we are at 46 out of 50 subscribers. The goal is to hit 50. If we can hit 50, that would be great. If we don't hit 50, that's okay. But that is our goal, is to consistently be at or as close to possible 50 subscribers to make sure I get a healthy check every month from Twitch. Because hey, if you're here, somebody should be getting paid. It might as well be me, because Twitch is getting they're getting theirs. I might as well be getting mine, so I can put that money into an account that I use specifically exactly just for buying model kits and equipment. Aristophan is here. Hello, Aristophan. Happy to have you here as well. Tonight, we'll be working on the Crossbone Gundam X2 Ver.ka. So as the alternate colors of this, it's leg day, so we're going to be putting some feet and some legs together for our lovely kit. And then we're going to be hanging out and talking about a lot of things. We've got some... Yeah, don't put all the money in Bezos' pockets. Indeed, Harold. Also, hi, Harold. Thank you for the host. Put some money in my pocket so I can buy model kits with that money. Pull it out of my pocket and buy model kits. We've got manga that I've been checking out. I read a little bit of one. I read a lot of another, because turns out one of them I really like, and one of them I think is okay. We will be talking about possible topics tonight. We could get an update about my D&D campaign that I'm currently on. Harold just cheered 100, saying, here's a little something. Thank you so much, Harold. Appreciate that. Is it still considered Bezos bucks if you step down? I mean, look, because it's Amazon. Look, I think that's the proper nomenclature. He still makes a ton of money. It's not like he stopped making money. He might not have the decisions. He might not be the person who's making every single huge decision, but he still benefits from Amazon. It's still his thing. Um, but yeah, we could be talking about update about my D&D campaign, perhaps. Perhaps we'll chat about that tonight. We could talk about my buddy Charlie, Charlie Chu of Oni Press. He chatted today a little bit about how kids today don't know about VCDs, which is true. Kids today don't know about video CDs. And so we could talk about that, I guess. Kids today don't know about DivX discs either, but we probably won't talk about that. We could talk about VCDs. I don't know. It came up and I was like, yeah, we could talk about that. But we're probably going to be talking about some of the goings on Twitch that are happening currently, and we're probably going to get into a little bit, because I got some engagement today talking about Boyfriend Dungeon and the discourse surrounding it, content warnings in general, and content in a broader sense. Player agency, fan agency, what some people call the Snyder effect, which is broader than that. It can be traced back to, for years and years and years in the game space. You can look at the reaction which led to a change in the ending to Mass Effect 3. This kind of power that the power that collective action takes, that is not necessarily meant to improve things, but to facilitate a will of the people onto a group or person. It's some heady shit, but I think it's important to discuss it. Also, because we're going to play, I'm going to play and stream Boyfriend Dungeon on Wednesday. And so some people might have opinions on that. and we'll be able to discuss that in there. But yeah, it's a big thing. We're gonna get into that because I've been thinking about it a lot. But there needs to be, if there is a proper term, I don't know for it. I do hate to say the Snyder, calling the Snydering, um, because, or the Snyder effect, because that does put a lot of weight on what appeared to me to be lost souls. So I don't necessarily love giving them any sort of credit, but it is a thing that can be looked at, and that is a huge example. The release of Snyder cut folks, and especially because they got their way, which is also the dangerous precedent. When collective action get their way in a very negative way, in a damaging way, it does certainly set a bad precedent for future endeavors. Um, and we can also talk a bit about how people wanting content warnings isn't wrong, and I fully support it. But people wanting content changes are tough. Um, so we're going to get into that a little bit as we work on feet for a Gundam. We'll talk a little bit about that, the kind of broader thought that I have on that. I'm going to retweet my tweet. We're going to put some legs on this pirate. So if you didn't see my tweet, which is okay, because you don't have to follow all my tweets and know everything I'm saying at every moment of the day, that will be weird of you to do. I basically started my thoughts, just these were thoughts that I tweeted out saying, okay, so um, Dream Daddy was bad because it featured an idyllic life and didn't have an edge to it. And also, this game, Boyfriend Dungeon, is bad because it's messy. And by that I mean it has an antagonist who is using underhanded, terrible methods to get his way, and he sucks. The antagonist in Boyfriend Dungeon sucks. Sucks as a person, as an entity. Uh, and both those things are true, and both those things are bad. And that's weird. But it goes to a larger point. It's like, so Boyfriend Dungeon isn't a full visual novel, but it does use visual novel elements. And that is a specific issue that exists in that um, the Western society, as of right now, Western gamers have interesting expectations when it comes to what a visual novel is. So here's what I'll say. The visual novel that is just like, oh, it's telling a story and it's cute and it's fun, that you may download those on itch, you may have bought some of those on Steam. Those are visual novels, and I will take nothing away from them. I am not saying that those aren't visual novels. I am just saying the visual novels that I watched and played were not those kinds of games. I played on stream before visual novels that were about like monster girls, like a monster girl going to a dance for the first time and like meeting somebody. It was like visual novel dating sim with monsters, and it was cute. It was adorable. That's a visual novel. But when I think of visual novels, I think about some storytelling, some gameplay that are set in high school or a fantasy world, and sometimes characters fucking those. Oftentimes characters fucking those. Most of the time characters fucking those, because the people that make visual novels know who they're selling visual novels to, and those people would like that shit. So much so that when those visual novels become anime, you can tell the scenes that were definitely dirty, like and not dirty as in person in chat here. I'm talking about like etchy, filthy, like the original Fate series is based on a visual novel, which is why there are 1,000 different Fate shows, because there are a bunch of different incarnations of it and different routes you can take. And there's a whole thing in the original Fate anime where one character transfers magic to another character and they get like kind of sheepish about how they're going to transfer that magic. And if you watched it and you didn't know that it was a visual novel, you'd be like, huh, I wonder what's going on here. But if you were playing the visual novel, you would know that's when those two characters fucked. That's when they fucked. Because it's a visual novel. There are many other examples of this. That is just one. Or a very violent anime like Higurashi When They Cry. That's a visual novel. Next season, we're getting Love Alternative, which is a mecha show that is based on the sequel to Love, which is Love is a visual novel that the first 2/3 of are you in a high school and you've got like a childhood friend and a new girl, and you're trying to figure out how to make that work when both are interested in you and you're not sure how to deal with that. And then aliens show up and it gets violent and nonsensical, and it's like it's a different fucking kind of show. And then the Love Alternative is another visual novel, but it's like an alternate. You're the main character. You wake up one day and you are years in the past, but in an alternate reality, and you are going to try to fix the mistakes of that you made in the previous game because you have knowledge of some stuff. So you're going to try to fix that shit. And there are mechs. Visual novels can be all kinds of shit, but they're often filled with things that are a bummer. I get the sense that people know what Haruto Boyfriend is, but didn't actually play all of Haruto Boyfriend. Or maybe they don't think about Danganronpa as like a actual good example of the medium. So that might be part of the backlash. There's also like this weird sense that people think that Boyfriend Dungeon, I have to think it's because of the name that people are so confused about what kind of game it would be. But apparently some people thought that it was going to be wholesome. That was going to be under the like wholesome idea, even though it's never been that's never been the case. And in fact, if you knew about some of the people behind it, there's no way that's not the kind of game they would make. It's like, no, that's not what it is at all. So part of it is from a misunderstanding and an ignorance. And then a lot of the discourse that's happening right now is, okay, so honestly, this thing is there's two parts to this story. Boyfriend Dungeon and the discourse, the conversation. The first part is some people were like, hey, some of this shit is heavy and dark and we wish we had been given a heads up. And then the studio being like, yeah, that's fair. And then other people being like, hey, it's one thing to have like content warnings. It's another to like remove things. Because like, if there's a thing where you don't like, well, you're going to get notes from your mom throughout the game and they're occasionally, and they're encouraging. But you can click on this if you don't want those. Because we know that some people that sucks. And people were like, well, hey, don't take things away. Don't take away experiences. And it's this honestly complicated. It is a genuinely and earnestly a complicated thing. So that's the first part of it. The like, hey, don't hide things or remove things. Tell the story you want to tell. Don't be afraid to do those things, which I don't think is wrong. But the other part is, hey, I don't like this, therefore it's bad. It is this thing of like, it originally felt very much like a Tumblr thing, which is a derogatory thought, I know. But it is shorthand for this like expression of people, which is this feeling that like there was a Tumblr called Problematic Faves, and the characters in Problematic Faves that were referenced, and it was just like, here's a character, and here's why they're problematic. And if you look at that Tumblr, I would say probably like 7 out of 10 examples are just characters that make mistakes or did things that were needed for the plot to go forward, or were character flaws that they could work on or maybe not work on. But that didn't make them problematic. The problematic was just like a poorly used term. But it does kind of go into this larger piece of like, or larger thinking of this complicated, pretty big issue, which is the idea that media shouldn't be complicated and messy and make you sad. Look, I'll say this. There are times where I don't want to watch a beautiful, brutal, sad movie. Animated, live action, whatever. There are times I don't want that. There are times where I don't want to watch those kind of shows or that kind of media. But I'm never saying that those kinds of media shouldn't exist. But there's a time and place for them. And for some people, it's a no-go, and that's okay. But it doesn't make that media bad. It doesn't make that thing bad. And it is frustrating that the idea that like, well, this character just does these things and it's terrible. And you kind of want to be like, yeah, they're the bad person. They do bad things. Also, good people can do bad things. And maybe they'll learn from it, or maybe they won't. But the opportunity needs to be there for those characters to have those moments. And I specifically want to make this very clear, folks. I know I'm talking a lot. I know I'm preaching a lot here. I have to specifically say that if you don't like a character, it's not the fault of the person that voiced it. Which even in talking this, even in the Snyder, the Snyder effect, even in talking in the, like, this culture of, like, making demands and of things and, like, really just needing those things, this kind of, like, entitlement culture, which I don't like to use the word entitlement, but that's what it feels like. In talking about all of these things, I didn't think that I would ever have to say, if you don't like something, it's not the person who voiced its fault. And that's a thing that has existed for a long time, of people just like not being able to separate an actor from a role. I mean, like, that's not new. That's not a new thing, but it is a thing where it's just like, come the fuck on. Voice actor didn't make that character terrible. That shit is nonsense. Same way, it's like, look, being critical of things, I got no problem with that. Being harsh about your criticism, sure, whatever. But demanding change of those things because it's messy and because you don't like it. An example I have used in this is GTA 5. I'm sure many of you have played GTA 5 or you watched Let's Plays of GTA 5. You may remember in GTA 5, and I tweeted about this, so I'm fine with saying it again, but in GTA 5, you play 3 protagonists, and you switch between them, and there are some missions you can only do with certain protagonists. When you first switch to Trevor, who is there is the guy who's getting in over his head, young person, kind of doesn't mind getting his hands dirty, but doesn't know what he wants, but doesn't know what the consequences of his actions are going to be. Then you have the person who was in the game, who got out of the game, was getting pulled back into the game. And he knows he shouldn't, but he's going to. And then you have the person who is in the game because he's broken fundamentally and he's awful. And that's Trevor. Trevor is irredeemable. He is not a joy to play. He is terrifyingly, horribly evil. And you play as him. And there's no moral gray. And in some ways, he's the best protagonist because the cruelty that you can inflict on casual people that doesn't fit with your characters, like, is Nico Bellic, maybe there's something redeeming about Nico Bellic, I don't know, but he can also murder a million people. But there's no redemption to Trevor. And that's interesting. But also, the very first thing you do as Trevor is you murder a character who was the main character of one of the expansions in GTA 4, who I happen to like. I think Johnny is a broken man. I think it is totally reasonable to say that after the events of his chapters in GTA 4, in the expansion, that he would end up as he did in GTA 5. But in order to tell you, the player, what this game is going to be like, they need you to murder this character. They need you to take it into your own hands and murder a likable character, a known character. Maybe you didn't play GTA 4. If you played GTA 4, you saw that character. Maybe you didn't play the expansion, you don't know. But enough people would know that they were killing a character that had somewhat of a redemption arc. And they do that so you know how much Trevor sucks. And I hate that. It's one of the reasons why I've never played through GTA 5 again. I beat it, and then I did a bunch of nonsense. I used a bunch of mods. I had a good time with mods. GTA 5, I think it was really fun. But I've never, like, gone through the whole story again a second time. Because he sucks so much, and I don't want to play Trevor missions. And that's my opinion. And so when I talk about GTA 5, I always say, and also I think Trevor sucks and it's shit that you have to play as him and there are missions you have to use him for and that you have to progress in the game, kill a character that I would have preferred not to kill and wish he wasn't in the game just to be murdered. And that's everything I just said there is the choice of the developers of Rockstar and my choice. And I have no problem with any of those things. But if I started a change.org petition, if I started a hashtag, if I started directly messaging on Twitter and trying to get into DMs and going through people and saying, the game came out, you got to update this game and like take this scene out and change Trevor. I'm not going to do that shit. And nobody should be doing that shit. It's perfectly reasonable to call bullshit on Quiet. To look at Quiet, Metal Gear 5, and look at Quiet and go, this fucking sucks. This whole treatment of this character fucking sucks. And that's where it ends. It goes, this sucks, and I want people to know I think this sucks. But that's where it ends, because it is authorial intent. It is the choices that were made. And expressing your displeasure in that, I think, is totally reasonable, and it fucking is necessary in many ways. I also think that a lot of this boyfriend dungeon shit comes down to it being an American dev, because there is this inherent belief that, Japanese game developers aren't going to fuck up the way, American game dev you can talk to and you can make demands and all that. She breathes through her skin, Pat. So yeah, that's the reason. Yes, dirty. Even though there's another character in Metal Gear that also does that, and he wears clothes. He wears clothes, and he can still do the thing she does. But yeah, I will. Yeah, but yeah, I think there's this like belief that, well, we don't understand Japanese culture, so we can't expect them to like be reasonable to trans people. Like the amount of passes that Atlas gets for how fucked up they are to women and minorities and LGBTQ plus A plus folks in the Persona games fucking sucks so much shit. It's awful, but they continue to do it, and it's like, oh, I wish they didn't, but like, it's their studio. They can keep being garbage about it, I guess. Didn't say it was a solid argument. Yes, indeed. It's not a Metal Gear Solid argument. Woo, yeah, woo. I'm getting pretty heavy here, so I wanted to lighten the mood a little bit with some high impact comedy performances. Boom. Puns. I got them. Anyway, that's my rants. I'm sure this will come up on Wednesday. Also, content warnings are great. Heads ups, fucking awesome. Because, like I said, the example, there's examples there where it's just like, this would be great, and I don't want to see, Dirty wants me to ring the bell, and I will. Dirty wants me to ring the bell 3 times, and I will ring that bell 3 times. So let's do it. Ring that bell 3 times. Thank you, Dirty. Anyway, it's all whatever. Um, it is my opinion that's a real bell ringer there. Thank you, Dirty. Yeah, it is my that's my stance on it right now. Generally, my feeling is I think content warnings are great. I think they are very helpful for people. Um, but I also, if it's like integral to the game, keep it in and let people have their opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes people, here's the thing. Sometimes people do want to engage in messy media. Sometimes they don't. I think that's a great way for them people to make their own, decisions on that and go with God. And I fully appreciate those folks. Uh, like I said, there's some sad anime stuff that I'm just like, I'm not in the right headspace. I'm not in the right mindset to watch this. There's sometimes where media where I'm like, oh, I watched that. Like, there are powerful pieces of media out there that I have watched once in my life, and I don't think I'll ever watch again because I watched it and I experienced it. I don't need to go back to it. But there's some lighter fare that I'll go back to. I'll watch that because it's kind of cool. I think it's neat. So I'll check that out now and again. Okay, so we did it with that, we did that. Oh yeah, okay, so now I got a panel line because our feet are done, so hit this, we're gonna hit this with some black. But yeah, I know that I'm getting very preachy here, and I try to keep that, I try to keep my preachiness, for stuff where I'm getting heated here and there. I try to keep that a little lighter, a little focused, but I don't know. I got thoughts on this shit right now. Um, I do think it is an interesting thought to think about, like, if 5 years ago I said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm playing this visual novel game," people would be like, "Oh yeah, all right, well, yeah. What are the main character? Oh, okay, who's the female lead? What's going on with that? And now it's just like, if I said, "Oh yeah, I'm playing this visual novel," it'd be like, "Oh, cute." Like, oh, maybe not. Things have changed a little bit. Uh, like I said, sometimes it's all different shit. Um, an update on my D&D campaign that I have been doing, which has been pretty great. I'll say that. Oh yeah, our feet are done here. The D&D campaign has been pretty cool. We had a bit of a hiatus. We are back in strong form right now, and I'm loving it. My Echo Fighter, the big update for my Echo Fighter is that he is now he still doesn't quite understand what his echo is, but he does appreciate his echo. Um, uh, he understands that it's part of him. He still doesn't understand how he summons it. It's still like this thing where he's doing it on, it's like unconsciously, but he doesn't think it's a different uh, person competing with him and trying to steal his victories, which is good. Um, I gotta say this from a storytelling perspective, because I'm not running this campaign. Obviously, I'm participating in it. I'm not the GM of it. Um, it's so fun to argue with yourself and not other players to get that like cheat of, well, I can have this combative character, this heated character, but here's the thing: my dude likes everybody else in the party, respects them. They all do different things. He's like, I can't do that. I don't. He's like, I can't shoot that. I don't know that. I don't know how bows work. Um, so he has no problem with his party. He is just mad at, or he was mad at for a very long time, this other orc that would show up, this other half orc that would show up and like start punching stuff when he was punching stuff. And it's just like, what is this guy keeps showing up? Who is this guy? Um, it is really fun to win, to defend against persuasion checks by members of your, because like most of the time people were just like, okay, yeah, that's very funny, Pat. But every once in a while, someone on my team would just be like, "No, my character would be annoyed by this and try to convince you that that's an echo that you created." And so I would have to win like Constitution like rolls, like beat their persuasion checks, because I wanted to keep the game going for as long as possible. Um, and so it's been very rewarding. Our group is fun. We beat a lesser dragon, which is always. I mean, look, that's fucking rules, man. We beat a dragon, kicked its ass. Uh, it's also very fun to play a thing where my spells are just like buffs and like, there's some attacks, but I'm not really focusing on learning too many attacks. My character mostly just wants to fight things. So most of mine is just like reinforcement. I don't know. It's been pretty fun. Like my dude really likes the bard in our group, um, because our bard is a poet bard, um, and it's been very fun to just being like, because like basically just like our bard like tells tales of like, our bard basically uses like pop culture of the era, this fictional world, to like encourage us, be like, well, when this party fought the dragon, and they'll just like say a bunch of shit and then like compose a poem about it. And my character is just like very impressed by poetry because it's just like, so many words. You're so great at it. It's just really fun to just be like very supportive of the other characters and be like, you're so good at that. Like, I don't know. It's like I can write my name down, but you're so good at poetry. Oh, so many cool stuff. So many cool spells. Like when people know it's spells. Oh, my dude is so psyched about spells. He's just like, you channeled fire from the elements? That rules. I'm so happy. It's just like, I don't know. He's so delighted about everything except for this orc that keeps following him and trying to steal his victories. But now he understands that he doesn't understand how it's happening, but he does understand that it's a version of him. Um, Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful in my roles, uh, because I was trying to persuade the rest of the party that it's me, that it this that my the echo is me from like another time or place. I'm like, well, that's just got to be me from like the future or the past, and they're like, no, we don't believe you. But that's kind of what my character believes right now. which I think is very, it's just fun. It's just fun. Someday he'll figure it out and he'll go like, oh, I'm doing that. But right now, he's just chill. It's very fun. Like I said, we took some week time off. Also, it is so cool to be doing a creative endeavor that is not for anyone. Like this shit is not like the most is like myself and another person that's playing who is a YouTuber like mentions the game on occasion, and that's it. That's all it is. It's just like on occasion mention that we're playing this and that it's very fun. But that's the extent of it, and that is holy shit to have like a cool, fun, creative endeavor that's not like I'm not monetizing it. There's not an audience. Oh, it fucking rules. I'm performing for my friends and nobody else, and that's so great. I just love it because I have monetized all of my hobbies. I have no hobbies left. What I have is like I have like an anime that I'm not talking like I have anime that I watch whenever I want and I don't talk about it week to week. Like that's the best I can do right now is like I don't talk to you weekly about Tokyo Revengers, but I will watch it because I'll let a couple episodes go and then get caught up and have like a night where I'm going to watch 3 episodes of Tokyo Revengers, and it's for me. And at the end of the season, I'll talk about Tokyo Revengers and tell you if I think it was good or bad or my thoughts on it. But I don't have to have like it's like for me right now, and that's like the bet. Like like I said, I'm gonna tell you about some manga that I checked out, right? Because that's fun. But I'm not gonna like. I don't have to. Um, uh, talk about everything because there's a few things that I'm just like, yeah, I'll tell you like a little bit about it, but I'm not like desperate for you to know. It's not content. I might not even talk about it in video form at any point. It's just like a thing. I'm gonna retweet my tweet. I'm gonna say this, folks. Uh, um, uh, would love it if more people watch the streams. We kind of hit a dip here. Um, Now I should say fully and totally. I love that people are watch the streams. If 2 people are watching the stream, I'm thrilled with that. I'm so happy to have you here. But I would like more people to watch. We were doing like 15 to 20 as an average, and now we're doing like 8 to 15 as an average on streams. And I don't love that. I would love more people to be able to check out what we're doing here. Uh, that's kind of just like a thought on that. Again, I would just like for people to watch what we do here or watch what I do here. Like to have a few more butts in the seats, but like I said, if that's not if that's not going to be the thing, that's not going to be the thing, and I kind of have to be okay with that, even if I am not thrilled with it. I just have to say, all right, well, that's where we're at. Hey, Lord Crashington, happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Okay, manga. It's time for some manga thoughts. Um, First thing I will talk to you about is a book that I have read a little bit of. That I don't know if I'm going to keep reading. I don't know if I'm going to be buying this or whatever. Oh, Lord Crashington wants me to ring the bell. I will also ring the bell. There you go. Thank you, Lord Crashington, for using your channel points for that. Okay, so let's see which one goes. This looks like this. I gotta figure out how these legs fit in here. Okay, so if it goes like that, then the flat side goes out. Okay. All right, I think I did the leg right there. We'll find out if I didn't, but I think I'm doing it right. Okay, so the first book I read a little bit of was I was caught up in a hero summoning, but the world is at peace. I mentioned this a little bit, I think, on Saturday. This was a book I think I was going to check out, and then so it starts off, I think, very interesting. Basically, a a dude gets summoned because he is the hero or he would be a hero candidate, but it's mostly for like the celebration of the fact that like a hero a long time ago brought peace and helped settle things. So it's more like, yeah, for like a year we have this big party every whatever so many years, and we bring in somebody to represent that role, uh, and it's just like, oh, and this year, in this year they did it, they fucked up, and they brought in three extra people, one of whom is our main character, and he's definitely like wouldn't be the hero, but he's like there for a year, so he's just like, okay, well, all right, I'll see what's up. And he's got kind of like cool special. His abilities are unique and interesting, um, and so he immediately gets the attention of a character who uh, is a high-ranking demon, and that's all I'll say about her. And because she's a high-ranking demon, and that's cool, uh, he gets to meet a bunch of other demons that seem cool. Uh, and there is not enough talked about how one of those characters is like incredibly important, or should have been incredibly important, but whatever. We'll get into that more. I guess they'll get into that more at some point. Um, okay, we're done with the leg frames. We're not going to do any paneling here because we're going to be putting armor all over this, but we did it. We'll make sure we can do that. We'll make sure we can do that. So the legs will work. The feet will work. We're good. We're going to take one of these legs and we're going to be putting some stuff on there. So yeah, so overall, I think I was caught up in a hero summoned by the, but that world is in peace is kind of interesting. It's a lot of characters, and the thing I like is that it's the power of friendship. Like this dude is just like a kind of interesting guy, and people are like naturally drawn to how like kind of cool he is, and or weird or just honest and nice he is. So he ends up with like very powerful, interesting friends, and gets to like the interest of like a god who has never shown interest in humans before. Uh, you know, she's like, oh, I don't know how to like talk to you, but we'll figure it out. There's a demon who is one of the most powerful demons, and her magic causes people to die or get disheartened or tremble. Good night to you, Harold. Thanks for being here. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. Thank you for the host, as always. So yeah, so he meets this like demon that people fear, terrifies people, and he's just like he has to use all his abilities to not give in to the fear because it would be rude to not say hi to her. And it's like the first person outside of one of the strongest demons or some of the strongest like demons and gods to ever like talk to her. So she's instantly just like, what do I do? I have a friend now. She's like, basically like he shows up and then she's just like, okay, let's get married. And he's like, let's start with being friends. And she's like, okay, I don't know how to do that. And it's just very fucking cute. She's great. There's a lot of fun characters that kind of get swept up in this dude's shenanigans. Meanwhile, the guy who is summoned as the hero, we see him very little. We see very little of him, and he's mostly just like a dip. He just seems like kind of a doofus, and we spend like no time with him. I don't know. I think it's pretty fun that we're just like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, whatever. That guy is definitely not important to this story. All right, so we need to do it like this. So we're gonna go like this. That's what we do here. Great. Getting this leg together. Then we need H4. So that yeah, so it's pretty okay. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know if I would say like, oh, I definitely gonna keep reading it. I think it's like fine, but it passed the time, and that's what I'm looking for. The one that I am interested in is I don't know. I mentioned this other one because it literally is somehow they made a video game, or sorry, they made a light novel into a manga that is a fucking Skyrim joke, a harem manga with a dense protag. Yes, I mean all. So the thing I liked about that one is that like it is just like a collection of very powerful, incredibly strong ladies. Um, like there's a point where he knows how to make a certain kind of food, so another person who is Japanese can finally get a certain kind of food, and she just like completely gets a crush on him, and he has no concept of it. He is very dim about the fact that all these ladies are real into him, which is great. Um, he like definitely likes one of them, but he has no clue about the others, which I like. We're going to talk about the strongest wizard becomes a countryside guardsman after taking an arrow to the knee, which is not the longest title of a manga that I have mentioned, and is definitely based on a light novel, and is a pretty fun premise. Basically, our dude was part of the subjugation force that took on the okay, okay, so this goes like this. Let me find out. This goes like this. Great. Goes in there. Then this goes in like this. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Getting it. Got it. Good. So anyway, our main dude here, he was like part of the heroes party. And he did take an arrow to the knee, and it's cursed. So his knee is going to take a really long time to heal. It's not normal magic won't help with that because it was like the demon lord's like last revenge, quote unquote. So he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to retire, but I don't want to like be in the capital. I'm going to dip out. I'm going to get um, I'm going to get a gig guarding like someplace like real quiet. And I'll just like, have somebody help me fake this and cover for me. And I'm just going to dip out of here. Goes out to the countryside, like the edge of whatever, and gets like a job that is basically just like, be the guard here and you get room and board for being the guard. And they're kind of surprised to have this like older, he's not old, but he's like older than they thought. They thought like somebody starting out would take the job and they could like convince that person to marry someone from the village and then just have like a strong person. But he's like, nobody starting out would want this because it's not exciting. It's like it's a fine enough gig, but it's not like it's not what people that would be coming out here would want. So he's like, I understand that. So they're a little surprised when this dude shows up, but they're like, okay, great. He seems strong, and he's obviously very strong. Uh, he immediately makes friends with a lady who is super into him because, of course, he does. Uh, can I get this to fit in? This is, let me find H17. Double check that it's H17. He immediately takes on a bunch of like powerful wolves. I said wolves. Wolves, and convinces like the strongest one. The strongest one is like, hey, uh, you're. I work for you now because you're clearly very strong. And he's just like, okay, great, hang out with me. Can you make yourself smaller? We'll talk via telepathy because that wolf can understand human speech. And it's just like the king or the queen of the wolves, basically. It's just like, great, hang out. We're friends now. Cool, cool, cool. Um, and then he like meets like uh, there's a demon that shows up, and she's like probably magic, like powerful. Definitely has the power, but also doesn't seem to like understand how the world works. And so he like squashes her plans, and it's just like, okay, you have to stay here. And pretty easily, she goes from being like a prisoner to just like part of the team and in the crew and like helping out. Uh, there's a young lady who was like the younger sister of the girl, and she was sick, and he helped her out, and she's real into the idea of her sister and him ended up together. And it's like it's this thing that happens in these kinds of anime where it is on the one hand, it is very chill and very fun and kind of a slice of life. But on the other hand, shit is happening and there are monsters that need to get killed. And so I wouldn't call it a slice of life. I would say that it has slice of life elements, but it is not a slice of life. story. It's still an action story. It's just a pretty chill action story. Um, and I like it. I think I'm going to keep reading it. It's a pretty damn fun. Like good characterization, good story. Um, it's it moves at a decent enough pace. I really like the wolf. I think the wolf is great. I think that and their wolf pups that show up later and they're great. Um, I like the demon girl and uh her. I got to the point where she is just obsessed with a couple things that I think are really fun and having a good time. And yeah, and there's just like, I don't know, main dude. I like the main dude knows what's going on, but is trying to take it easy, but also is certainly not afraid to help and do things that are need to get to do in order to get the job done. And I appreciate that. Okay, so why won't this stay in here? Now that these are connected better, maybe that'll work. Maybe I need to put the armor on first. No, it doesn't want to stay up in here. It should just sit in here and hang out. And it isn't, and that makes me think that I did something wrong. This is not supposed to be the flat side. Because this is supposed to just pop up in here. And then it'll sit in there, and then other things will get connected to it. And it's not doing that? Because it's basically, eventually, this is supposed to go into here. Basically, when I touch the leg. So maybe I don't have to worry about that right now, and it'll just work when I go and connect these. When I do this, it'll just work and sit in there. So I think we're just going to leave that off, and I'll figure it out. I saw that the League of Heels account just took a crack at the CM Punk meme about what pro wrestling really needs. Did it? That's weird. Then that would be Aaron, because I haven't tweeted that account in a while. So I'm going to go look at that now. Did we say something? Oh, yeah. Because Aaron tweeted. Wow, weird. This is, wow, about 22 minutes ago. Yeah. So let me tell you, this is the indication that Aaron Trites had a little bit of free time in his life, which is rad because Aaron doesn't get much fucking free time. I do think the landscape of wrestling definitely needs a League of Heels show. I think we are about there. Okay. I mean, that's a weird thing, Aaron, for Aaron to tweet out of nowhere. Um, I mean, my thinking is that Aaron just saw that meme and was like, "Oh, we can make a tweet about that meme because the League of Heels account basically doesn't do anything because we don't do I don't do anything with the League of Heels account outside of League of Heels shows, and so we don't have any." That's very funny. Yeah, because I don't like. I mean, there won't be a League. I have no plans to facilitate a League of Heels show anytime soon. Or CM Punk Hunter Twitters, obviously. Yeah, no, Aaron retweeted it, so it's an Aaron tweet. That's weird. I mean, more power to him. I'm glad that he has some free time that he can waste by tweeting on that account. Good for him. Um, So yeah, strongest wizard becomes countryside guardsman after taking an arrow to the knee. It's pretty good, and I think I'm going to read more of it. What's the other one I can say that I'm probably going to read? So I'm probably going to try the strongest sage with the weakest crest, which I believe is a winter 2022 anime. I believe that got picked up. The strongest sage with the weakest crest, not crest, crest is kind of an interesting premise. Um, so I think I'm going to give that a shot. So I need 38 and 40 on this. We'll finish this up and get this leg done here, and then we'll move on. Ooh, some yellow. Great. 38 and 40. Or 39 and 40. Great. Um, Basically, the strongest person, the strongest human who somehow lived for hundreds of years and was really strong. Um, he there are four crests, and you're born with one of the crests, and those crests talk about how you can use your powers. And his crest is not optimized for his fighting style, and he can't really use it, even though he's the strongest human. So he uses forbidden magic to reincarnate himself so that he can be born with the crest he wanted and can therefore do the cool shit that he always wanted to do and be an overpowered MC, basically, even though he's super powered. He can then grow with that power. Um, and he does it, and he shows up in a world where shit has gone a little sideways because now the crest that he was born with, that he was like his new crest, that he's like, this is the one, this is great, this is clearly the best crest. Now I got this. It's very unpopular, and magic isn't as well known, and things have gotten weird. And he's trying to figure out like, he's like, I shouldn't be the strongest human in the world with my powers right now. What happened here? What's going on? Why don't people know about chantless magic? Why does everyone use chants? Why does people not know about enchantments? Why is my crest considered to be the weakest crest when it's the strongest? What's happened here? So he's trying to piece that all together, basically. Being a piece together, I got to piece these things together and see why I can't get these, what I'm doing wrong to get these to line up properly. So I'm probably going to check that out because it does sound kind of interesting, even if it's standard and it is coming out next year. And I kind of like the idea of occasionally checking out a story that I will later be, or checking out a thing that that'll be an anime. Okay, we're going to take a pause to the cause, then I'll come back to this and figure out why I can't get these to work while I talk about some anime. But first, hey, if you're new here to the stream, welcome, hello. This is the part of the stream where I talk about ways you can support the channel if you'd like. You're under no obligation to do so, but if you wanted to support what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to. Right now, let's throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the mode in the chat. Let the people know that being a subscriber is an easy way to support what I do here, and I always appreciate it. You could gift a sub to somebody in the community if you wanted to. You could join the gift sub leaderboard with Aristofan and Mr. Hadel. Looking to hit 50 subscribers, you can see over there and there. So if you wanted to subscribe using Cash Money or your Prime Gaming token, you could do that. You could gift a sub to somebody in the community, as I said, and join the leaderboard. That would be a cool way to help out. All of that is optional, of course. All the stuff I'm going to talk about here is stuff you could do that you don't have to do. Also, bits and coins always appreciated. We did see some bits from the Ja at the very start of the stream, which is awesome. Alternatively to this is Patreon. I got a Patreon at the $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier level. So a little cheaper in some ways than the $5 here, Twitch. A little more expensive on the other end, or the same about. I appreciate that. If you're thinking of doing that, I would appreciate it. Patreon.com/PatBear is that. You can find all these links in the show description below if you're watching this later on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Or you can find it if you're watching the VOD later. You can find that there in the chat. I'm putting all the links in the chat. Speaking of YouTube, I got a YouTube. You could subscribe for free, or you could join $2 a month. And here's the thing that happens. I put out a new video every Wednesday. So on Tuesday, you can see that new video. And the video that I'm putting out this Wednesday, like I said, you can see that tomorrow. So you get it a day early. That's a little thing I can do. So do that. I appreciate that. Direct donations is another way to support what I do here. One-time donation, if monthly is not something you're interested in doing, I understand, and that's totally cool. But you can one-time donate. And everything I make through direct donations, through Twitch, through Patreon, through YouTube with AdSense, goes to buying model kits and equipment. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Now, I have some stuff in my backlog, and I am happy, excited to build those in the future. But if you would like me to, instead of doing that, if you were like, no, Pat, don't do that. Do something else. Well, you gotta buy those things you're gonna do. If you buy something from my Amazon wish list, it comes in the mail. I build it ahead of everybody else. It jumps the queue, and also I shoot a video just about that thing that goes on my YouTube. My Amazon wish list right now. I have inexpensive Lego sets, more expensive Lego sets, inexpensive high grades, very expensive high grades, all kinds of different things. I try to update it pretty often. I haven't updated in a little bit, but I will try to do that soon. Equipment on the bottom, because it's always nice to have some equipment, like some better tweezers than I have. My tweezers are pretty. I'm trying to bend them to get more of a grip on them, but like, yeah, I got some tweezers in there. If you want to spend $7 so I have tweezers, I don't know, you could, or like get me a new SSD because I'm kind of running out of storage space and would like to have a second SSD. Like, those are things you could do if you wanted. Again, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't have to buy anything there. But like I said, if you buy something from there and it's a model kit, I'll shoot a video and build it ahead of everything else that I'm working on. Likewise, you could buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store, and then you get an email with the code, and then you could DM me on Twitter, because my DMs are open, with that code, and I will fucking get that. And I will use that to buy something. And then I will build it on stream, and I'll shoot a video just like I would for the Amazon. So that's that. Those are all the ways you can support me financially if you're so inclined. Again, we are trying to get to 50 subscribers, so I want to point that out. If you've been on the fence about joining, you could be part of the wave and get me right there. But a way to support me for free is to join my Discord. I got a Discord. You can jump in there. I post build photos at the end of every stream. Lastbrook has been posting over the last couple of months the long progress of working on the perfect grade that Lastbrook is working on, which has been really great. But people post stuff they're working on too. There's a bunch of people in there, talking about the stuff they're doing and plug in their own streams. It's a nice chill little space. So feel free to join my Discord. We would love to have you. A couple of videos I would like you to watch while I have you here. I can link you to a couple of videos. Here is the first video that I would like you to check out. It is a brand new episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, and I am fucking proud of this one. I think this one turned out great. It is all about the anime Zombieland Saga, and it was recommended to me a while ago, or suggested to me a while ago, that I do a video on like idol shows. And the trouble with that is Zombieland Saga is the only idol show I've ever really liked. So I talk about why I liked it. And I think it turned out great, the video. I think it's compelling, and I give you some good reasons why. I will say I was incorrect about the age of one of the characters in the show and did say her age wrong, and I will apologize for that. It is in the show notes for that video. A girl who was 12 that I said was 10, but whatever. It still stands. The other video I'd like you to check out is Best of Build With Baer. And this is from a recent stream where I accidentally said the name of a video game wrong and pitched what that video game would be. And I think it's pretty funny. So check that out. It's just a little clip. I do a new one of those every week. Like I said, there'll be a one out tomorrow for my $5 patrons and also for my $2 YouTube subscribers. Our YouTube members get to see that a day early. Okay, so I'm done doing all my promo work. I'm going to go back to building. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to try to figure this piece out here. And then we're going to talk about some anime I watched in the past 2 days. I watched 2 shows because the anime I watch on Sunday and Monday is less than other days, which is fine. It's okay. We'll talk about that here. Some anime. Shoulders are really tight. I gotta do some exercises and loosen some stuff up. I've been sitting in this chair, leaned over, too much. Leaned over to the screen. I gotta get on the floor and really stretch everything out. I will do that on my own time. I still also have to get. Let's just do K14 because that'll be easier. We'll do K14 and then we'll try to figure out why I can't get this pieces of work. Anyway, hi. So the 2 shows I watch are Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, which we're in season 2. We're in the second half of season 2. Excited to continue to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the latest episode of Seirei Gensouki Spirit Chronicles, which has been fine. So a big episode for Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. Real big episode. So the whole basic story is that there's some demons, the 6 fingers. They showed up. they're clearly working for somebody, and they're there to rescue or free a prisoner underneath um, the park, which is called Walter Park. It's this amusement park. They're gonna free Kiryu, who was a major antagonist in the first season, and also someone Iruma considered a friend. And we don't really know if Iruma thinks that he was betrayed or if he thinks that Kiryu might have a good reason for what he did. But he did stop Kiryu. So this dude was in prison. The Six Fingers are basically the other thing is while they're there, they also want to destroy Walter Park, and we find out why in a little bit. Basically, I'll say now just to kind of explain it. I'm also going to make this leg bigger or this picture bigger so I can see what I'm doing wrong here. Okay, so the vent piece goes here. Damn it. Okay, I got this in one try now. Now that I know how it's supposed to go, I can just do it. All right, so now I got to resize this here. Great, resized. Oh, no. Great, resized. Now I got it. It just goes like that. It was really easy. I don't know why I couldn't get it, but if the vent is on the downside, it'll go in nice and easy. Oh yeah, did it. Now we can connect that. Anyway, there's a giant monster. There were three monsters, and they got defeated, and they merged together to be one giant monster, which is not good. And then this monster is basically just like here, and everyone's freaked the fuck out about it. A dude who was kind of the antagonist at the beginning of this second season or the middle of it is now kind of their ally, Ronov. He's an annoying dude, but he has an ability to draw attention and have people want to look at him, which he uses to distract this big monster. And then he's like, "Oh no! Now what I do? Now what do I do? This big monster is going to destroy me." But Iruma steps up and uses the magic that he has stored in his ring, which sounds silly but is true. That's a true statement. Uses the magic stored up in his ring and his imagination to basically imagine a giant cat that then just like sucks up all of the magic power in the beast. He just basically devours it, and it's actually pretty cute because Iruma is just using his imagination of like, what do I think? What would I want this to do? How do I want this to work out? And just like gets the job done. Great job, Iruma. You did it. So Iruma saves the day, and everyone is both congratulating him and also scolding him for like taking such a big risk and like doing this and whatever. But hey, it fucking worked because Iruma saved the motherfucking day. Hell yeah, everybody saved the day. Kiryu does get freed, and we find out the name of the person because he's been talking to somebody and we don't know who it is, but now we do. The person he's been talking to is he's named the Thunder Lord Baal, 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 and he wants to return demons the way they used to be, where they didn't relieve stress. They were just like it was a hierarchy of like, he was only the strong survive, and they'd crush the weak and all this other stuff. That's the society he wants to bring the Netherworld society back to that way apparently. So it's like okay. And he was behind the plot in the first season and all that. Okay. There's a big parade because Iruma and his friends helped save the park. So they have this big parade and they're all thanking him. And we get to meet a character that I was legitimately excited to meet. He is Ronov's father who created the park. And he looks exactly like Ronov, only he has a mustache. And he calls himself Legend Daddy because he's a legendary dad. So he calls himself Legend Daddy. Legend Daddy. And Ronov also calls him Legend Daddy, which is, I think, just very supportive and great. That he's just like, yeah, my dad's a legend. He's a Legend Daddy. Like, what? What's up? I just think that's incredibly cute, and I love that. Uh, yeah, we got introduced to Legend Daddy. But yeah, they threw a parade, thank everybody, and they're like, hey, um, why don't you hang out at the hotel? I got this beautiful hotel. While y'all hang out here, we'll party. We'll have a big celebration. And they're all like, okay. So there's like some people get into some fancy dress and outfits. Um, and they have a big buffet and hang out. And kind of for the first time, Iruma's just like getting some fresh air, looking at the stars. He is he's kind of being reflective, which we don't really see. He's definitely like grown a bit, which is pretty awesome. Good for you, Iruma. Anyway, he talks with Amari, who knows he's a human, one of the only people that knows he's human, and definitely has a crush on him. And they talk about their ideals and ambitions. And Iruma's thing is like, I want to get stronger so I can protect people. I want to protect all the friendships and such that I've made. Just like real good, Iruma. Real good of you to want to protect that. Uh, and then we get a shock, which is Amari is like, hey, at some point, one of the because she thought that he was invited. She misunderstood the invitation to this park and thought it was just gonna be the two of them. So she's just like, hey, at some point, why don't like the two of us do something? It's just like asking him out on a date, which is big. Um, and then Alice and Clara show up and they're like, hey, um, what's going on out here? And before they all go off, like the moment's ruined. No, he's just like Irma's like, yeah, we should do that. And then they go back to join the party and freak out because there's a news broadcast with Iruma's grandpa saying how cool Iruma is for saving Walter Park, and now everybody knows who Iruma is, and that he was like this, the Babyliss students are all like awesome, and he's just like, oh no. So Clara's like, hey, don't go home because they'll be there. You should come hang out at my place. Which I guess is going to be the next episode is Alice and Iruma going to Clara's house, which I just think is going to be that. I mean, after all this action, I think next episode is going to be real silly, and I'm looking forward to a real silly episode. Okay, this leg just kind of like fell apart here, so I got to figure out that part of why that happened there. Okay, well that's like that. Then this goes like this. And then we got one more piece, and then we're done with this leg, which is great. And then we can work on the other leg once I get this on here. Yeah, it's a fun show. I really like it. I would say go back to season 1, obviously. But if you're looking for a isekai with like a real good boy main character, a real silly one, that also the whole show is silly. It is a comedy. It is definitely a comedy first, action second. And if you're not interested in that, then this is probably won't work for you. But if you're looking for some like a funny show that also has moments of like characters like doing cool shit, like what it is it is mostly more interested in like yeah characters do cool shit, but like this one girl's silly and it's fun, and this other character is real silly and great, and everyone's got their like character traits, and there's like one character that kind of sucks, but whatever, he's not the worst. He also, I will say, yeah, the owl who is just real horny. At the very least, he was very helpful in fighting the monsters. Uh, I can't. I had this on and it was fine, and now I'm like, why can't I get this to work? And I don't know. So that's fun. That's a fun thing where I'm just like, why isn't this working? This should slip right on here, and then snap on the sides, and it is fucking not. Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is. Great. I did it. All right, that's the leg. One leg is done. Oh no, there's one piece in the back, and then that leg is done. Sorry, I'm wrong. Got to put E4 on the back. Oh yeah, this kit, the beam sabers, the beam saber holders live on the back of the leg, which is kind of neat. I think that's pretty cool. So that is number E4. Great, got it. They look like they would, hold the cutlass. Okay, what's the other anime I want to talk to you tonight about? It's Spirit Chronicles, which is a very generic, uh, a interesting premise that doesn't really go anywhere, uh, and it's just kind of like very blah. But yeah, this just looks like the back of the leg here, but you can pull out that, which is neat, pretty neat. Anyway, one leg done. Now we're going to work on the other leg, which is basically we're doing the same thing we just did, but with other pieces. That is this one here. Okay. Um, okay, so Rio is this dude. He's an orphan. His father died before he could remember. His mother died it was murdered, and he is traveling to their homeland. He is trying to go to he is now in the Yagamo region, where his people are from. So he can like learn a bit about uh, his history and also tell somebody that his parents have died, like let people know because they died in a different country. Um, and so he's like, yeah, I'm going to travel. Also, this is a isekai. There is a character who died named Haruto, and his name's Haruto. Yeah. And so Rio is a reincarnation, but it's mostly his memories. The thing that I would say, this show has an interesting premise and then is fairly mediocre. And the part of it that is a fairly interesting premise is the idea that instead of just like overriding his memories, it's combining with his memories, but he is still Rio. He just has like he can use martial arts and combat because uh, the Japanese kid studied that, and his ability to use spirit arts is unlocked because of this event where he has his memories back. Anyway, he ends up meeting a village chief because people told him this village chief, if anyone would know people, like knew a lot of people in the area. So it was like, hey, here's the name of my parents. They traveled to this world, this area before they uh, both died. And she's like, yeah, I knew both of them because Zen was my son. So Rio just met his grandma. And we find out that they were sent on a secret mission to go to that area. Uh, we don't know any more about that because she's like, I can't tell you right now, but I will tell you someday, which is real cryptic. And he just like accepts that. He just goes, okay. Would you think he would be like, no. Hey, grandma, tell me what's up with my folks. Like, why did this happen? What's going on? But he doesn't. He respects her wishes, which is nice of him. And he finds out that the girl that lives with his grandmother is his cousin, um, named Ruri. She is she's living there because her parents are both gone, and so but nobody says because they're like, we said that they died and they have graves here. We said that they died like here to cover up for their mission because we knew they wouldn't come back. So that's why they weren't like looking for them, or they didn't know. They knew they didn't expect them to ever return. So which is interesting. Um, Anyway, what else did I want to say about this thing? Okay, so that happens. Basically, Rio hangs out in the village for a while because she's like, at some point, I'm going to tell you. Will you wait for that time? Which is cryptic and weird, but sure. And he's like, okay. So he's like helping out. He's hunting. He's working in the fields. There's a girl that is like, she and her brother live alone, and they don't really talk about how like there's like a whole lot of people in the village like that are dead, and we don't really learn about why that happened, and I assume we will at some point. But anyway, it's just the brother and sister, and the sister has a crush on Rio, so the brother is jealous, and it's a whole dumb thing. And then there's some dirtbags from a neighboring town, and they 100% try to maliciously attack at night Ruri, who is Rio's cousin. They have obvious ill intentions. Like clearly, obvious, they are clearly garbage boys, garbage men, I should say. And Rio loses fucking control, and we've never seen him lose control. He's been very level-headed throughout this whole thing, and he's just beating the shit out of this dude and almost kills him. Uh, and people are pretty understanding about how violent he is because he did prevent some terrible things, but they are very accepting of the fact that he is incredibly overpowered and dangerous. Um, and Rio wonders if the memories of Hayato have stayed with him, have three like if those memories have messed with his head because he's kind of forgotten his revenge that he needs for what happened to his mother. So I don't know. It was interesting. He's gonna go on some kind of mission to move some stuff, and so I think we'll get more story. And I am interested in finding out what's going on here. Like, what mission were his parents on? Why are there other people missing from the village or gone from the village? What's up? What's happening here? I am interested in seeing more of that. I'm fairly interested in this story and where it's going. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it also comes out on Monday, and I don't have anything else I'm watching on Mondays right now. My Sunday, Monday viewing is pretty limited, so pretty psyched about having something else to watch. Having that to watch. So yeah, that's what I've been watching. Post credit title card for next episode was interesting. Ooh, you know what? I didn't watch the title card for next episode. I'll have to check that out. I think I stopped watching the ending credits and I didn't see the title card because I don't always see the title cards for the next episode. So I will check that out, Dirty. Thank you for mentioning that because it did not even register in my mind. Check that out. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. I assume next episode is them traveling with the money or the goods or whatever that they're moving. That he said he would help protect them, but I don't know. At some point, the evil, bigger plot that's going on in there he's gonna have to interact with that again, but maybe he won't because it doesn't make sense. But I don't know. I mean, at some point he's gotta go help out the friends pick up the friends he's left along the way and go help out the friends that he needs to go help out. And I'm sure there's at least two other big conspiracies left for him to deal with, I assume, because he's the anime protagonist in a big epic story. So I'm sure he's got other shit to deal with. We got some time left. I don't really have much to say about VCDs, video CDs, except that it is a real fun, archaic thing to say that I owned them. I bought these on eBay. Every episode, he's a secret werewolf, which is why he can use spirit magic the beast folk use. Maybe, maybe not. Dirty, I feel like he can use spirit magic that they use because he's got that spirit of who is clearly Hayato's childhood friend who got somehow isekai'd into being a spirit and not a human. And that's how Hayato got sent over. That is my assumption, that he's not a werewolf, but he is. It's just that spirit is her, which is how his powers got unlocked. I mean that's context clues. I completely missed VCDs. Yeah, I mean, look, VCDs came and went because DVDs became popular. But here's the thing about, so you know how, um, there were you could just burn media onto CDs. You could burn just data onto CDs, right? And then you could put it in a CD player, on your computer, CD-ROM drive, and you could just transfer the files, right? You also know how you could make music CDs, right? Or you could just record them as audio things, and they would play in most CD players, no problem. Well, there was a way to also, for old tech, I still have a couple 8-tracks that I used in my first car. Well, there you go. That is old tech. VCDs were video CDs. They were burned CDs, like CDRs, that if you put them in a DVD player, if you put them in a VCD player, which was also like you could also put them in a computer, depending on where you got them. They would just play like a DVD would, and that was a way to play media. Faceless Name says, "Woo, just in time for media format talk." Yes. So I owned several VCDs. Like I said, I got every episode of The State on that someone recorded off television. They put them on VCDs, and I bought that because I wanted to watch The State many years ago. And it was a fine piece of media that completely got overshadowed immediately by DVDs. And I believe there's still programs that will let, like Nero. I'm sure the latest version of Nero, you could find a way to make VCDs. Um, they were like, they were basically sometimes they were better than VHS quality, but they were like, I would say probably closer to that because you were burning the stuff on there. I remember getting some Dragon Ball Z movies on VCD. And so how did I watch them? You might wonder. Well, everybody knows, not everybody, most people know that the PlayStation 2 was a DVD player, so you could put DVDs in there. But did you know there's a latest version of Nero? I don't know, Ashbrook. I haven't used Nero in years. I don't have a disk drive on this. I have a USB CD-ROM in a closet. I bought a bunch of DivX movies and a DivX player when I was stationed in Thailand. I bought Pearl Harbor the week before it came out in theaters here in the States. Hell yeah. Yeah, DivX players was definitely like a similar style of feature. A similar thing, like same kind of vibe. Anyway, so you play DVDs on a PS2, but you could get an adapter that you would plug into the back. And then this was a Japan pretty much exclusive, but you could get it in the States. You could plug in an adapter to a PlayStation 1 or a PlayStation ONE, the smaller PS. But a PS1, you could plug an adapter in that would let you play VCDs on your PlayStation 1, and then you could just watch them on your TV. And so that's what I did. I had that adapter. And then eventually I did have a disk drive that would read them. But originally my first CD-ROM didn't do those. So it was a short-term media. Now, some people that would, do distribution, because not everybody wanted to watch stuff on their computer. They wanted to watch stuff on their TV, right? Like anime. You could get VCDs of shows. And then everybody just moved to DVD. When DVD became much more easy to get, people switched to making DVDs because they could put more episodes on there. Now, the episodes they were putting on were probably still the same. Those shopping centers had seriously shady tech stores. Totally. Thailand, and certainly. Thailand around the time that Pearl Harbor came out, yes, that seems very accurate that they would have some wild shit. Some wild shady stuff. Anyway, that's really like you just mentioned VCDs, but VCDs were like also speaking of Thailand, if you wanted to watch martial arts movies, be it Thai or be it Korean or be it Hong Kong, VCDs were very helpful for that too, because that's how you got a lot of your things, because it was cheaper to put stuff on VCD than it was to put it on DVD. And early DVD players would also let you play VCD, so it was very popular to go that route as well. It's a whole ecosystem. The quality was pretty good, depending on what you got. You could get pretty good quality on those, so people were into that for a long time. But it was fun to just like have a CD that you could just play like it was a DVD, and it kind of bridged the gap from VHS to Super VHS, which is just a better. Super VHS is just a better VHS like machine and tape. It's just you get less stuff on there and it looks better. It's like Super VHS is basically S video compared to like component, but it's not composite. And then like VCDs are often better quality, and then DVD is obviously a huge jump in quality, and pretty consistently. And that's all of the different formats for video. But the thing with the thing about VCDs that was nice was you didn't have to worry about trying to keep up with like uh sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Oh, you didn't have to worry about trying to keep up with making sure that your stuff was all up to date and your codecs were good. Like having the right DivX codecs was very important. And like if your laptop, your laptop was fine, but like if your computer, wasn't always hooked to the internet and you couldn't get access to it that easily, you were running into trouble. Whereas VCDs, you could just plug in, just play and it'll be fine. You didn't need codecs for it. You didn't have to get on the internet to make sure you could get the thing you needed to get. So it was fairly helpful with that. Ooh, I missed a step here. I4. But yeah, I have. It is weird to say that I have fond memories of that technology. But like, yeah, my buddy mentioned it today, and it did get me thinking about all of that weird tech. I mean, I had a digital mini disc player for a while because when CDR, it was harder to. CD burners were still very expensive, and so making mini disc was easier in many ways, and I didn't have to pay for it. So I got a mini disc player or a mini disc like digital mini disc recorder for work years and years ago because it was cheaper than having a computer with a burner there. That was very short term important tech, and then it became very like unnecessary tech pretty fast. All right, so I can put this on here. We'll finish these legs up today, and then we will be body complete here. Yeah, we're gonna complete the bottom. We got to do the sides here. We're almost body complete, and then we've got to do the backpack. I will do a poll before Thursday for my $10 patrons to decide what I'm going to build next. I'm going to let them figure that out. I'll give them some options because we do have a bunch here because we have to do the core fighter. We got to build the core fighter, as you know, or maybe remember. There's like a big hole in the back of this. So we got to do the core fighter, which also is the X, like the skull and crossbones part of it, the crossbone part. Then we got to build the weapons, which there aren't many weapons on this, so we got to build a few of them. And then we got to put the cape on. So it's important that we got to put that cape on. I got to like read about how to make that work because I don't know exactly how to do it. I'm probably gonna watch like somebody do it online. But yeah, we've got Pat. You were very responsible for me buying a Vegeta model tonight. Hell yeah, faceless name. I will definitely take the blame for that. Enjoy your Vegeta model. That sounds rad. I hope you have a great time putting that together. Let me know. Was it a entry grade? Was it a figure rise? I think both are all right. Entry grades are very easy. The entry grade Vegeta that I built is very simple. The figure rise are a little more complicated. I like both of them very much. Unnecessary tech. I remember swapping zip disk with friends in high school. Yes. I mean, I used all kinds of unnecessary tech, like yeah, zip drives and all that, SCSI drives and all the weird ways to transfer data because you got to do something to transfer that. You got data, you got to transfer it. Um, you can't just you can't just let your computer on overnight as you send a zip to somebody. I have zip disks and a way to use them like directly to my right. Hell yeah. Like I said, I have a USB CD drive that my parents have. So I don't even have it right now. My parents have it because that way my dad can rip MP3s for his MP3 player from CDs because he has a pretty big CD collection. So they have that because the laptop doesn't have a CD drive, which makes sense, their laptop. So I can use that if I need to, which is nice. They also have a printer, which I have used quite a bit, and it's been great not having to go to like anywhere to do that. Probably whatever the easiest is. I'm sure they're $20 at Amazon, but $10 at Target. Well, hell yeah. So if it's the entry grade, you're not going to get a lot of movement out of it, but it's still a fun looking kit. If it's a figure rise, you'll have a little, you'll definitely have some more movement involved with it, and it is a little bit more complicated of a kit, but I still think you'll like it because I like the figurized line. But yeah, if it's the entry grade line, it's a little easier to build, but you're not getting much movement. But also, $10 is a great price for that. Because those are still fun kits. All right, let's get this mostly body complete. Actually, we'll be able to body complete it because we have the time. We could do the side skirts pieces that go on once the legs are on. We'll get these legs on and we're good. I took computer art classes. Yup, entry grade. Yeah, faceless name. You're not going to get a lot of opposability. It's kind of like you're building. You're not really building like a model like this. You're building mostly like a mini plastic statue almost. There's some, but not a lot. But it's going to be a really easy process. You don't need tools to do it. You might want a toothpick, a tweezer, X-Acto knife to apply stickers if there are stickers in it, which if I remember correctly there are. But it's not going to be a super challenging thing. It'll just kind of be a fun build. So enjoy. Um, I took computer art classes in high school, and we used zip disks for storage, and carrying those around was just cool. Yeah, I mean zip disks are fun. They're a fun thing to hold and have around because like you're like this is like a thick. It's the thickest disk you've ever seen. All right, we are basically body complete here. We're gonna go ahead and put on our side pieces here. We need A's and B's and F. So let's do that. We'll get the B out here first. The B, the B, the B. B13 and B12. B13 is here. B12's there. Great. Okay, so Wednesday. Cool. Just wanted some Zen building. Been having fun with snap ships too. Oh, great. Yeah, I think that'll be very Zen. It's just like gonna be fun to put together. So again, advertising Wednesday. I'll be streaming at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're gonna check out the game everyone's talking about for not great reasons, for reasons other than it being apparently a very cool game. Is we're going to be checking out Boyfriend Dungeon, which I am excited to visit. So we'll be taking a trip to Boyfriend Dungeon. I played a little bit of it, but I haven't played a lot of it. We're going to restart though, so we'll start fresh, even though I played a bit. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope you tune in on Wednesday for that because I think that'll be neat to check out. And then of course Thursday we'll be continuing this build and I assume finishing it because like I said we've got weapons and we got the core fighter which is also the bones of it. So we got to do that and then we've got after that we have the weapons and then the cape. So it might be most of it might be all the episode is finishing up. But I will have my $10 patrons decide what I'm building next. And yeah. It's gonna go. This goes like this. How does this line up? Why don't you want to line up? Right, there you go. So you line up like that. Yeah. I think this is, yeah, the weapons or something go on the side, so this thing is supposed to be able to pop out easily. There we go. Got one done. And we'll do the other. Yeah, and then we'll figure out what next is. Look, I've got some cool options of things that I can build next. I've got that Hello Kitty entry grade with the SD Gundam that we can combine together. I've got the Calamity full mechanic. I'm really interested in seeing what that is. I mean, it's just a new version of the RE100. I know that, but I am excited to put that together because that is a cool looking kit. We have, and then I have like two different strikes. I've got the old strike Noir, and I've got the newer strike Alley with the high grade. So yeah, I got a few things. And I'm going to be picking something else up off my wish list. I'll just buy something myself soon. And if you wanted me to not build those things and instead build something else, you can always buy something off my Amazon wish list, which takes precedence. All right, so now we can put that here. Oh no, I'm going to get F23. Normally, the piece that I would be using right now would be the piece I would be using right now would be a polycap. We don't have polycaps on this kit, so we don't have to worry about polycaps. We also didn't panel line the legs, and so we're going to hit that with some panel lining. Do that too. I kind of wanted to just get this body complete. Oh yeah, we still got some paneling. And we are going to raid. We're almost done with the stream tonight, but we will raid somebody. I don't know who we're going to raid tonight, but we will go give somebody some love out there on the internet. We'll find somebody cool to go hang out with in their stream while they do stuff. That's way more fun to go do that. All right, so this is going to go on like this. I can see these side things popping off real easy. They don't seem to want to stay on. I can see these things being real annoying. Gotta pop in over here. There we go. Yep. Cause that to fly right out. Real fun. Fun and cool and fun. Right. This. And then this goes and pops in here, putting pressure on this that I don't like to do, which is not fun. But yeah, I'm excited for the next stream. I'm excited for Wednesday to stream a game, that I haven't played on stream yet. Like I said, I've only played a little bit of Boyfriend Dungeon, so I'm excited to check more of that out. And yeah, trying to see, the dungeon elements of it and the visual novel elements of it and how that all works together. I'm interested. Interested to see how that works. So I haven't played that much of it, and we'll just start from scratch. Be cool. This does not want to stay on, which is fun. And by fun, I mean not fun. Bet these are going to pop the fuck off. I'm really putting like a lot of pressure on this. And that sucks so much. I hate it. All right, I'm going to take this off here for a second. Okay. So this is going to go in from the top. There it goes. That was like really annoying. I hope these don't fall off. I really put a lot of pressure to get them in there. Does that have wings on its shoes like Kofi Kingston? I mean, I guess you could say these are like wings. Yeah, it's got, yes, it has a little, a facial name. It is a little bit reminiscent of that kind of a vibe. Sure. All right. There we go. So that is, we're going to do a little panel lining here, but this is basically body complete except for the core fighter, which also has the crossbones for the skull and crossbones. So we're just going to hit this with a little bit of black and clean it up a little bit. That's kind of all it needs. It doesn't really need much panels because it's such a dark color. Like there are panels on here, but no marker is really going to show up. Like we'll hit it with it, and like in the light, it might sparkle a little bit. But if this was white, it'd be very noticeable. We put gray on this, it'd be super noticeable. But because it's very black, you can't really see a lot of details. These likes to fall off, huh? Okay. Yeah, there's some parts on here that are not super stable. This is a kit that originally came out in 2013, and this is just a reissue. So it is not like a remake. It is just like let's do it exactly how we did in 2013, but we'll just make more of them, and we'll also sell them internationally instead of selling them just in Japan. So that's what we get. Anyway, this is the body complete. We got a little more work. We got us basically a stream's worth of work to do, but we'll get to that. But right now, I'm going to go and find somebody to raid. So we're going to go see who we want to go spend a little time with. It'll be fun. Let's see. We'll go see who is doing stuff on my list. Oh, what, what is he doing? I want to see what this is. Oh no, it's a big magic thing. Okay, we're not going to go do that. My buddy Ben is doing a big magic thing, and we're not going to go check in on that because I'm sure it's been playing for a very long time. Uh, let's see. Thank you for the stream, Faceless Name. Appreciate you being here. Uh, hey, we've never done this. Gersman's doing Jeff Gersman. We're gonna raid Jeff Gersman. He's doing Garage Talk. Uh, and Jeff usually doesn't stream at this time of night for Jeff, so we are gonna go give Jeff a raid. Does Jeff need a raid because he has like 800 people watching? No, he doesn't need a raid. But I think it's fun that we're gonna go and give him a raid. I think that's like gonna be a good time. So we're gonna go raid Jeff Gersman, because why not? So feel free to come along in this raid. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks so much for spending some time with me here. I appreciate you all very much. Yes, this is the end of the Garage Talk, so we're going to go hang out there. Thanks very much for being here. I'll see you in the next stream. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.